All right, the Dodgers fall to the Philadelphia Phillies in Game 3 tonight, 8-2, and the Dodgers still lead the best of five division series 2-1. Um, Not a good night, not a good game today. Um, I was extremely nervous for this game today, and for multiple reasons. One, because a lot of people, including Phillies fans, seem to just put the series in the refrigerator and basically call it over. I was not ready to say that, man. Like, the top three guys in the order, Schwarber, Harper, and Turner, pretty much did nothing the first two games in Philadelphia, but they responded today. And you figured any smart baseball person knew that those three guys were not going to be quiet forever. Schwarber had two home runs today. Trey Turner had a couple big hits that led to some more runs, but I had a bad feeling going into the stadium tonight. Um, that being said, it was still winnable for the Dodgers. I think that's the thing that I left leaving the stadium. And I know, Kershaw came in the seventh and eighth inning and gave up the game in the eighth inning, but um, Dodgers left a ton of guys on base. Aaron Nola started this game, which was a head scratching decision by a lot of Phillies fans made by Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, and he went out there and he did what he was supposed to do. He got six big outs. Um, Dodgers let him off the hook though in the first inning. That was really frustrating. Mookie hits a triple, and the only reason why it was a triple because he hit the ball, and Brandon Marsh, the center fielder, made an aggressive dive instead of just keeping the ball in front of him. If Brandon Marsh keeps that ball in front of him, that's a single. Instead, it goes past him all the way to the wall. Mookie has a triple with less than two outs. Dodger Stadium is rocking, and the fans, you can feel it. Like, they smell blood in the water already again, like last series with the Cincinnati Reds. But Teoscar Hernandez, which has had a good series offensively, not in the field or not on the base pads, but um, had an opportunity to score first in the first inning, couldn't do it. Struck out, and then Will Smith got caught looking to end that inning. So that was pretty much all the damage, or almost all they were able to get off of Nola. He got six outs, and then Ranger Suarez came in, and it was kind of funny. And I was actually thinking about this before the game tonight. It's like, how funny would it be that Aaron Nola gets the Phillies 6 to 9 outs, they take him out, and then they bring Ranger Suarez in, who everybody was so upset that he wasn't the starter from the beginning of the game. First first at bat, gives up a solo home run to Tommy Edman, and then the Dodgers are up 1-0. The Dodger Stadium's rolling, and then um, that was pretty much all. That was as excited as Dodger Stadium got. Um, Yoshinobu Yamamoto didn't have it today. Did not have it today. Um, wasn't getting the swing and misses on his breaking ball stuff, and he threw a meatball, a 2-0 meatball to Kyle Schwarber, which he basically hit the ball on the roof of Dodger Stadium in the right pavilion. That is really hard to do. There's only been like five people in baseball history that have been able to do that. And Kyle Schwarber hit a moonshot. It's tied the game. It seemed like to relax that Philly dugout. And then they came rolling. They scored two more runs, one on a bad throw. Not a bad throw by Pajes, but um, Muncie's got to figure out a way to keep that ball in front of him. I know it's coming a million miles ahead at him, and I'm not the one that's going out there, but man, Muncie's got to keep that in front of him. So um, Harper scores on that, I believe, and it's 2-0 Phillies with a runner on third, and it turned into 3-0. So and just like that, the inning, the life was sucked out, the energy was sucked out of the stadium, and the offense failed to get bring in more runs. They were able to get some guys on base. They were seeing Ranger Suarez pretty well. I know they struck out five times against him, but they were getting on base. They were getting their walks, and They just could not get the big hit to tie the game. And I was mentioning this to a couple of my coworkers there tonight that the Phillies, from the first 7 innings of the ball game, were basically handing the Dodgers. They were telling the Dodgers to come back into the game because after they got the 3 runs, they didn't do anything after that. They had a golden opportunity to put the game away in the top of the 5th inning when they got Yamamoto out of the game and there was runners on second and third with the heart of the order coming up. Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, and and Brandon Marsh. But they took Yamamoto out. Anthony Banda came in, who was fantastic today. He's had his struggles all year long, but this bullpen man, up until Clayton Kershaw, and I'll get to that in a moment, did everything they could to try and keep this Dodger team in the game and keep the offense from trying to get going a little bit here, But Anthony Banda was able to get Bryce Harper to strike out, Kyle Schwarber to strike out, Bryce Harper to hit a pop up in the shallow right field, which didn't score anybody. They intentionally walked Alec Bohm because they wanted the lefty lefty matchup with Brandon Marsh, and he was able to strike out Marsh and keep the bases loaded. And it felt like, man, like if the Dodgers, and I was telling my coworkers this, if the Dodgers would have came back and won this game, we would have looked at the 5th inning like that's where the Dodgers bullpen came in and saved it, but didn't happen. And guys left some guys on base. Once he hit into a back-breaking double play in the 6th inning, which again took all the juice out of the stadium, and then they brought in Clayton Kershaw. And I'll tell you this, man, like when Kershaw came out of that bullpen, man, that was one of the loudest receptions I think I've ever heard for any player at Dodger Stadium, ever. Went crazy, and it was very clear from the beginning that he didn't have it. He walked a guy, gave up a base hit, but he was still able to keep the score 3-1. And unfortunately, had to go back out there in the 2nd inning, and that's where he gave the game up. That's where the Dodgers lost the game, no question about it. Now we did hear from Dave Roberts after this game that Tanner Scott was supposed to be in that 8th inning, but he was dealing with a personal issue. So hopefully everything's okay with him. We want nothing to happen to any of these guys, and we understand that at the end of the day, this is just a game, and sometimes real life gets in the way. So whatever Tanner Scott is dealing with, hopefully he's doing okay and his family's okay. But Kershaw had to go back out there in the 8th inning when he clearly did not have good stuff in the 7th. Had to wear it, unfortunately. Schwarber hit a home run. JT Realmuto hit a home run that made it 4-1, which felt like the game was lost right there because that Philly offense was stalling again, man. They were leaving guys on base, and it was like, are the Dodgers going to do this again where the Phillies leave guys on base and the Dodgers come back and win the ball game like they did in Game 1 and in Game 2, score late? That JT Realmuto was huge to get the Phillies a 4-1 lead. Continued to pally off some bad defense, led to some more runs, and then Kyle Schwarber, and then all of a sudden you look up, it's 8-1 Dodgers, the game's over, and the half of the building is starting to leave and head out. And that's your ball game. So Dodgers failed to score with runners in scoring position, and Yamamoto was not good today, even though he did get the first 9 out of 10 guys he faced out. Fell apart there in that 4th inning, unfortunately. But the good thing is, Dodgers are home tomorrow. They don't have to hop on a plane and go to Philly just yet. They can, and they play tomorrow. I'm sure all the players are flushed by the time they got home. Wake up tomorrow, new day. Just a couple other things, it's a double-edged sword with the way this game and how it all unfolded. Obviously, at one point in the 7th inning, the Phillies closer, Johan Duran, was warming up, and I believe he was gonna try and get a 6 out save. If not, he was gonna try to get like 4 or 5. Then the Phillies had that 7 run, or excuse me, that 5 run 8 inning that put the game out of reach, and obviously they didn't have to use him. That's huge for the Phillies, especially with no day off tomorrow, playing right back again. Um, the Dodgers will see Johan Duran no matter what, even if the Dodgers are winning. You might see Duran tomorrow, like in the 7th or 8th inning, trying to get multiple outs, not just more than 3, because obviously the Philly season is still on the line. But um, it's a double-edged sword. The Phillies didn't use Duran, but the Dodgers also didn't use their top guys either. They didn't use Sheehan, they didn't use Vesia, they didn't use Sasaki, which tomorrow it's do or die for the Dodgers. It really is. Like, you do not want to go back to Philadelphia for a game 5. You don't. You won twice in there. It's very hard for me to believe that they can win 3 times. Not that they can't. They obviously can, but the Dodgers already did their job on the road. All they have to do is just win one of these 2 home games, and we can move on to the next round. But um, tomorrow, you know, Tyler Glasnow will make the start. Christopher Sanchez will make the start. For Glasnow, hopefully he has a good start. But man, Dave Roberts has to treat it like a must-win game, and I think he knows that. He basically punted today, which a lot of fans were not happy about, myself included. Yeah, your offense didn't have it tonight, but it was 3-1. Now, any sign of trouble from Christopher Sanchez, Rob Thompson was probably going to go to Duran again for like a 5-6 out save. But still, make him use it. Make him burn Duran knowing that there's a game tomorrow. And that's the thing about not sweeping this series, is that now you're giving this Philly team some life. Their offense came through in a big way. Schwarber had 2 big home runs. Turner was getting on base, So I am nervous going into tomorrow, but in terms of the pitching, the only people that should touch the ball tomorrow, Glasnow, Sheehan, Vesia, Sasaki. That's it. That should be more than enough to get you 27 outs tomorrow. That's it. Those are the only 4 guys, in my opinion, that should touch the baseball tomorrow. And, I hate to do this because he's been great ever since he's gotten here, but Shohei Ohtani had an abysmal division series. 1 for 16 so far. And that one was an RBI single that he had in Game 2 off of Strahm to make it 4-0, which actually ended up being a huge run because look at what happened in the 9th inning with Blake Trinan and with everything that happened in Game 2. But guys got to step it up, man. Hasn't done much, At least Friedman has gotten on base and he's been able to draw walks once in a while. But Shohei Ohtani's been striking out and just having weak contact. Now he almost hit one. He almost hit one out opposite field off of Suarez in the 7th inning. I actually thought he got it. To be honest with you, I thought he hit it out and it was 3-2. But Shohei's got to come through tomorrow, man. He's got to come through. Hasn't been good. He hasn't been good this division series, no question about it. And it's. They've thrown all lefties at him. The 3 starters, Sanchez, Luzardo, Suarez, and they have Tanner Banks and, Strahm. They've thrown all these guys at him. He's got to have better ABs, Right now for Shohei, walks are better than strikeouts right now, or groundouts, But it's all hands on deck for both teams because either Phillies, obviously your season is still on the line. If you lose tomorrow, their season's over. And if you're the Dodgers, man, you do not want to go back to Philadelphia. After taking 2 games in there already, but then dropping 2 home games as well. So yeah, there's Game 3 recap. Offense got to come through, man. They got to come through tomorrow. It's a different ball game if their offense comes through. Dave Roberts manages that game totally different tonight, but guys couldn't come through. Pages hitting pop-ups, You know, Muncy hitting to a back-breaking double play in the sixth inning. It's not like these guys didn't have their chances. You know, it's one thing if Sanchez was just mowing him down 1-2-3, which he pitched very well out of the bullpen, so give props to him. But the Dodgers were still making contact off of him, and they were still, putting the ball in play. I know Edmund got robbed of a double when Bohm made the terrific third base catch, but they were getting some hard hits off of him. But hopefully the Dodgers bring it tomorrow. So far from all the clips that I've seen, doesn't seem like there's really that much panic in the room, which is a good thing. This is if you would have told me going into this before this series started that the Dodgers would be up 2-1, I would take it without question. So, hopefully the Dodgers can take care of their business tomorrow and end this series. But it's a must-win game for the Dodgers, man. I cannot stress that enough because you do not want to go back to Philadelphia for a Game 5, And maybe there is something to that Philly crowd in Citizens Bank because it seems like the Phillies played pretty loose today. I know there was a lot of people upset about Kyle Schwarber's comments about the Philly fans and, the minute everything's going good, yeah, they're winning our sales, but the moment things start going bad, they're winning our face. Like, maybe getting them out of Citizens Bank Park was a good thing and definitely showed today because their offense came back alive. And Nola was able to give them 6 big outs, and Ranger Suarez was able to go 5 innings. So Philly's got the momentum right now, man. They've got the momentum. It's up to the Dodgers to see what they can do tomorrow, bounce back, and they got to score first tomorrow. I know they scored first today. Tommy Edmonds solo home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning, but they've got to tally on early. I mean the first, 2nd inning, because it seems like the deeper this game goes, and it's a low scoring or a tie score, it could get a little interesting tomorrow. But it's all on deck. It's all hands on deck tomorrow for both teams. It sucks that the Dodgers couldn't sweep this series. A lot of people thought this was going to be over. I didn't. I wasn't going around work today or Dodger Stadium. Oh, this series is over. I saw a lot of that from Dodger fans and even Phillies fans that this series was over. But Shohei's got to figure out against lefties because he's going to see Christopher Sanchez again tomorrow. And, yeah, Dodgers just got to get a win tomorrow. That's all I can say. There's not much else. But, yeah, so Dodgers fall to the Phillies 8-2. We'll see you tomorrow after Game 4. Adios.